Now, NBC News is projecting that the Republicans will take the House 2019 to 2016. Now, the pundits have been wrong before, they might be wrong again, but that's a margin of just one member. But just one member, like just one vote, really, really matters. It means Republicans now have the power to subpoena. It means reckless spending done by continuing resolutions will now stop. How reckless? Well, during the height of the coronavirus pandemic, economists from Bank of America estimated anybody making $30K or less made more money by not working than by working. Now, not only has all the spending contributed to inflation, it also, I believed, changed the work ethic of America. Renters did not have to pay rent, people did not have to work, and Biden, with a stroke of a pen, relieved student debt. So you can now borrow and not have to pay it back. It turned out to be a brilliant political move, got a lot of young people to vote Democrat, and to get the freebie. But the debt is still on the books, except now, instead of student debt, it's been added to the national debt. Now, the change in Congress now gives Republicans the gavel. It means the power to investigate things like reversing Donald Trump's border policies that's caused nearly 3 million illegal aliens to enter the country, some of them no doubt on the terrorist watch list. If you've been watching Fox News, you know all about this.
The illegal crossings down here in the Eagle Pass area just nonstop. We had an absolutely enormous group cross illegally this morning, and we want to show you this remarkable drone footage our team shot before the sun came up. Take a look. This is our Fox News thermal-capable drone showing several hundred migrants crossing illegally into Normandy, Texas. Normandy is a tiny little town on the northern outskirts of Eagle Pass, and you can see as these illegal immigrants come in, they just kind of snake in through the brush right after they come across the Rio Grande. A CBP source telling us as of this morning, in just a 24-hour span in this sector, there were more than 1,700 illegal crossings. And as you can see from this video, almost all the people coming in are single adults. Had a chance to talk to a lot of them as they were walking up. They're mostly from Cuba, Colombia, Nicaragua, Uruguay, and the Dominican Republic. And you see them just walking in this single file line, willing to give themselves up and surrender to Border Patrol. They're doing that because they know once they step foot in the United States under the Biden administration's policies, they are likely just going to be released into the United States rather than removed from the country.
But there has been a development. With the midterms over, DHS Secretary Mayorkas lied by insisting the borders are secured after 2.5 plus million illegal aliens enter the country, and after accusing the racist GOP of creating a phony issue, the Biden White House suddenly dumped the Customs and Border Protection Commissioner.
48 past the hour, the Commissioner of Customs and Border Protection resigned at the request of the Biden administration over the weekend after reportedly refusing to step down.
Now, if you haven't been watching Fox News, you've been immersed in the January 6th insurrection and the so-called election deniers. Speaking of which, I was in the Dallas airport at a bar having a couple of pops, and I started talking to a man who said he was a poli-sci professor at a local college. He described himself as a moderate and offered this analysis of the midterms. The Republicans did badly, he said, because they had candidates who engaged in election denying. I told him it was a phony issue and that people like Hillary Clinton have been denying election for years by, for example, saying Donald Trump stole the election and referring to him as illegitimate. Believe it or not, I kid you not, the prof actually said, I never heard her say anything like that. I said, you got to be kidding. He wasn't kidding. Then another man who overheard our conversation shouted, she's been denying it for years, at book signings, in speeches. I said, and on talk shows. Hell, she even denied the results in her book.
You can run the best campaign. You can even become the nominee. And you can have the election stolen from you.
I believe he knows he's an illegitimate president. He knows that there were a bunch of different reasons why the election turned out the way it did.
Trump knows he's an illegitimate president who got illegitimate foreign help.
I think three things. First, I do think that he knows that he's an illegitimate president.
So we need numbers overwhelming so Trump can't sneak or steal his way to victory.
Now, apparently the professor at the bar didn't read her book. Maybe he's waiting for the movie. And I told the professor Hillary wasn't alone.
And despite the final tally and the inauguration and the the situation we find ourselves in, I do have one very affirmative statement to make. We won.
Without voter suppression, Stacey Abrams would be the governor of Georgia. Andrew Gillum is the governor of Florida.
You refused to concede and say that you lost. Do you stand by that decision today?
Absolutely. The election was not fair. The process was not fair.
If Stacey Abrams doesn't win in Georgia, they stole it. It's clear. It's clear.
I think that Stacey Abrams' election is being stolen from her.
It was not a free and fair election.
Brian Kemp stole the gubernatorial election from Georgians and Stacey Abrams.
But will I say that this election was not tainted, was not a disinvestment and a disenfranchisement of thousands of voters? I will not say that.
But Republicans suggest that about 2020. They're election deniers. Now, I'd forgotten, by the way, that Hillary also said that Governor DeSantis has stolen the election as well. What's this? In my baby brown libertarian fingers? A couple of my slippers from MyPillow. Mine is in beautiful tan. They come in different colors. They come in different sizes, obviously, and in different styles. Just click on the number on your screen, or go to mypillow.com, use promo code ELDER, and here we have a, what do you think this is? You think this is a MyPillow? You are right, it is a MyPillow. And they come in different sizes. And I slept on one last night, as I do every night, except when I'm traveling. And even when I travel, I can bring a little one with me. It is absolutely amazing. You get some of the best sleep of your life. And finally, what do we have here? Well, I have a MyPillow Giza Dream bedsheet. Notice I'm holding it up higher because I got complaints. Larry, I couldn't read it. I was going to order it, but I couldn't read it. Well, now you can. Hit the number on your screen or go to mypillow.com, promo code ELDER. Remember, they've got over 100 products. I kid you not. mypillow.com, promo code ELDER, or call the number on your screen. I'll be right back. Now, the Republican takeover of the House means it has the power to investigate Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, the business dealings. And we know from Tony Belinsky, the longtime partner of Hunter, that Joe Biden, contrary to what he told us, knew exactly what his son was up to.
I've heard Joe Biden say that he's never discussed business with Hunter. That is false. I have firsthand knowledge about this because I directly dealt with the Biden family, including Joe Biden.
Now, expect the Republican House to investigate George Floyd Black Lives Matter riots during the summer of 2020 and whether the anti-cop defund the police rhetoric that the Democrats pushed contributed to it. Over 25 people died. Nearly 2,000 police officers were injured. There was at least $2 billion of insured damage, to say nothing of the uninsured damage. And remember the Black Lives Matter activists who said this about the looting?
If somebody decides to loot a Gucci or a Macy's or a Nike, because that makes sure that that person eats. That makes sure that that person has clothes. That's reparations. That is reparations. Anything they want to take it, because these businesses have insurance. They're going to get their money back. My people aren't getting anything.
Food by stealing a Gucci bag. And never mind, there was no evidence that Officer Derek Chauvin did what he did to George Floyd because of George Floyd's race. In fact, the lead prosecutor, a black man, never argued that the cop was motivated by Floyd's race. And in his opening statement, he took pains to say that the police in general were not on trial. The Minneapolis PD in general is not on trial, but that this particular officer was on trial.
Now, I've spent a few minutes talking to you about what this case is about. There are any number of things that this case is not about. Maybe an infinite number of things the case isn't about. But one of those things is this case is not about all police or all policing. You will learn from Chief Arredondo when he comes that police officers have difficult jobs. They have to make split-second decisions. They sometimes have to make split-second life and death decisions. In this trial, you're going to meet any number of the men and women from the Minneapolis Police Department who do a fantastic job. They're committed, take very seriously preserving the sanctity of life. I mentioned already Commander Katie Blackwell, Sergeant Kerry Yang, Officer Nicole McKenzie, to name a few. This case is about Mr. Derek Chauvin and not about any of those men and women, and it's not about all policing at all.
And Derek Chauvin was never charged with a hate crime. Yet we had all these months of riots in the streets, all because of an assumption, falsely, that whatever Derek Chauvin did had to do with George Floyd's race. Now, Republican takeover puts the nail in the coffin of the January 6th so-called insurrection hearings. Talk about a kangaroo court if there ever was one. Trump-hating Democrats put who they wanted on the committee. And what part of peacefully and patriotically do they not understand?
I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard.
Now, the head of the Oath Keepers, Elmer Stewart Rhodes, accused of essentially leading the so-called insurrection, testified that he expected Trump to call and direct the insurrection, a call he said never came. Some insurrection. Now, there will also be an investigation into the origins of COVID-19 when the GOP takes over the House. Now expect an investigation into how the FBI has been weaponized to go after Trump, conservatives, and Republicans, specifically the raid on Mar-a-Lago, the use of the FBI to go after parents who rejected critical race theory and transgender agenda, and how the DOJ approached Facebook to lay the groundwork to suppress the Hunter Biden laptop story. Finally, after the Democrats' strong showing on the midterms, President Biden now has wind in his sails. Representative Clyburn, who said just days ago he wouldn't commit to supporting Biden for re-election, well, Clyburn has now changed his tune.
I think Joe Biden is exactly what we needed. Back 2 years ago, I said that when I said that we know Joe, but most importantly, Joe knows us. And I think he's what we need for 2024 as well.
Oh, what a difference a few days make. Check out this headline in The Hill just a few days ago. But Biden remains Biden.
I can't have trouble reading this. Reuters, Netanyahu boasts.
It's going to be an interesting couple of years, and that's the elder statement. I'll be right back. Now be sure to hit that like button because I know you like the show. Hit subscribe because I know you want to subscribe. And click on the description below so that you can be put on our mailing list. Why? Because YouTube, believe it or not, has demonetized me. I don't know why. Maybe it's something I said. But if you don't want to miss any videos, you've got to get on the mailing list. Now, as I mentioned, we've been demonetized, so that you want to help out, you can donate. Hit that donate button. And remember, the first half of the show, the first half is for free. Second half, you've got to be a subscriber. Go to LarryWithEpic.com. That's LarryWithEpic.com to do so.